Good afternoon, and congratulations, class of 2018. At the beginning of a speech given last fall to the U.S. bishops, the Apostolic Nuncio, the ambassador of the Pope, said, "More talk, more mistakes. Less talk, less mistakes. No talk, no mistakes." So I am going to talk, but not too much. One of my sisters, Diane, who is 3 years older than me, graduated from St. Ambrose, as well as a brother, Ken, who is 3 years younger than me. So I suppose it was inevitable that someday I would be connected to St. Ambrose University in one way or another. All I remember about my sister's time at St. Ambrose is that the commencement address was given by the late comedian Bob Hope. I can even remember where my family stood during the ceremony under the oaks. I guarantee you that my talk won't be as funny as his was. And all I remember about my brother's time at St. Ambrose is Whitey's ice cream, which by that time had made its way across the river. Rather than give you, the class of 2018, advice, I simply would like to share with you 3 things that I have learned along the way. Feel free to take them or leave them, but in any case, hopefully they are worth at least a little thought and reflection. First, commencement speakers sometimes tell graduates that they can be and do whatever they want to be and do. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. If you work hard enough, you can be and do anything. This sentiment bespeaks the American dream, and I have found that it does have a certain ring of truth to it, but it isn't totally true. I can assure you that no matter how hard I might have tried, I would never have been able to become a male ballet dancer or an opera singer. It just wasn't going to happen for me. I have found that a good way to approach and live life is from the perspective of stewardship. Although none of us can be all and do all, each of us does have certain talents and gifts due to either nature or nurture or a combination thereof. So with regard to stewardship, I like to think of it as the big G and the 4 little G's. Believers view life itself and one's time, talent, and treasure as gifts from God, the big G. But one also can view these gifts as coming from and nurtured by parents, families, neighborhoods, parishes, and schools. So to begin with, our lives and everything in our lives are gift, the first little G. The second little G stands for gratitude. It is essential that we be thankful for these gifts, which we don't deserve and haven't earned, to humbly receive and cherish them, to have an attitude of gratitude. Next, we should strive to grow, the third little G, the gifts we have been given. You, the class of 2018, have been doing this the past 2 or 3 or 4 years, or however the heck long it took you to get through St. Ambrose. Hopefully, the development of our gifts is a lifelong endeavor. And finally, the 4th little G is generosity. Good stewards share with others lovingly and generously the gifts that have been entrusted to them. It is, in fact, our responsibility to do this. I have found that a life of stewardship is an incredibly joyful, meaningful, and satisfying manner in which to live one's life. St. John Paul II often said that the human heart will not be content unless it is self-giving. Similarly, Senator John Holmes once said, "No exercise is better for the human heart than reaching down to lift up another person." Ironically, the more of ourselves and what we have that we give away, the more that we are and have. So that's the first thing I've learned along the way. The second thing that I've learned is that it is helpful to approach life from the perspective of team or family. I've observed that in commencement addresses, graduates often are told, follow your passions, chart your own course, march to the beat of your own drummer, follow your dreams, and find yourself. Okay? Such advice focuses on the individual graduate, himself or herself. And yet, spiritual leaders throughout history and across the globe have emphasized that the purpose of life is not to find yourself, but to lose yourself. I have learned that it is not all about you or me. None of us is alone as we make our way through this life, and none of us is as independent as we might think we are. Many of you graduates are student athletes and therefore have experienced team unity, teamwork, and team spirit. And all of us are members of families in which we experience give and take and interdependence on a daily basis. In the Christian tradition, there's a wonderful belief and doctrine called the communion of saints, which highlights the importance of community and interdependence. We are all in this together, living and dead. Being a lone ranger is not only lonely and scary, it also isn't very satisfying or productive. I have found that there are always people who are willing to lend a hand, give a word of comfort and encouragement, and show us how. When we operate as a team or a family and everyone makes a contribution, whether it is remarkable or ordinary, we can do amazing things together. When we share our gifts and efforts, the outcome is always, I have found, much greater than the sum of our individual contributions. So, but what do we do when we develop and use our individual gifts, work together as a team, and nonetheless fail? What then? So with that in mind, I would like to share with you one last thing that I have learned along the way. A year or two ago, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts delivered a commencement address to his son's graduation class. He said, commencement speakers typically wish graduates good luck and extend good wishes to them. Instead, he told the graduates this: from time to time in the years to come, I hope you will be treated unfairly so that you will come to know the value of justice. I hope that you will suffer betrayal because that will teach you the importance of loyalty. Sorry to say, but I hope you will be lonely from time to time so that you don't take friends for granted. I wish you bad luck, again, from time to time, so that you will be conscious of the role of chance in life and understand that your success is not completely deserved and that the failure of others is not completely deserved either. I hope you will be ignored so you know the importance of listening to others. And I hope that you will have just enough pain to learn from compassion. As difficult as it is to have to deal with failure, thank God all of us fail from time to time. And we don't have to go looking for failure. It will find us. Difficulties and failures keep us humble, build character, and provide us with opportunities to grow in resilience, virtue, and depth. Pope Francis sometimes tells young people not to be afraid to take risks and to fail. It isn't the end of the world if we make a mistake or a bad decision. This is true even in a utilitarian sense. Someone found that the average entrepreneur fails almost 4 times before succeeding. Most of us, no doubt, are familiar with the Humpty Dumpty story. After falling off a wall, Humpty Dumpty could not be put back together again, not even by all the king's horses and all the king's men. But is the egg really smashed, or is it hatching? Might a chick be emerging from the broken pieces? We are near the end of our annual celebration of the Easter mystery, and tomorrow Christians will celebrate the solemnity of the Ascension of the Lord. Jesus' agonizing and humiliating death on a cross appeared to be a failure, but it certainly wasn't the end of his incredible story. This, however, is the end of my commencement address. May God bless you and keep you always.